What gives birth to life? That may sound like an ancient question, but I believe it is also one of the most urgent questions of the future. In an age obsessed with artificial intelligence, automation, speed, data, and scale, we are constantly asking what systems can do. We ask how fast they can learn, how much they can process, how widely they can spread, how efficiently they can optimize. But in Garden of Wisdom, I ask a different question. What is the deeper pattern of life itself? And the answer I return to is very simple, very old, and I believe very powerful. Love and light give birth to life. This is not just a poetic phrase in my book, it is a basic axiom in what I call life driven evolution. By that I mean something specific. Life has the tendency to grow in love and light. Life moves toward greater awareness, greater connection, greater complexity, greater sensitivity, greater relationship. And because we are life forms, not separate from life but expressions of it, we too are designed to grow in love and light. That is not sentimental language, it is evolutionary language. Because if a life form fails to grow in the conditions that sustain life, it declines. If it becomes too rigid, too disconnected, too violent toward its own ground of being, it weakens. And if it weakens enough, it goes extinct. That too is part of evolution. So when I speak about love and light, I am not speaking only about private virtue. I am speaking about survival, development, and destiny. Light in this axiom means illumination, it means awareness, knowledge, truth, discovery, intelligence, the unveiling of what was hidden. Light is what allows life to see more clearly. It allows organisms to orient. It allows minds to understand. It allows civilizations to learn. It allows human beings to expand perception and act with greater precision. Without light, there is confusion. Without light, there is blindness. Without light, there is no real learning, no science, no discernment, no meaningful progress. But light alone is not enough, because light can reveal without caring. It can expose without protecting. It can increase power without deepening responsibility. That is why love is equally necessary. And by love, I do not mean sentimentality or mere emotional comfort. I mean the force of connection, the recognition that life is not isolated, the capacity to honor the existence of another being, the impulse toward care, compassion, mutuality, stewardship, and protection. Love is what keeps light from becoming cold. It is what keeps intelligence from becoming predatory. It is what gives moral direction to awareness. So, if light helps life see, love helps life belong. And when the two work together, life grows. That is the axiom. Love and light give birth to life. In Garden of Wisdom, this becomes more than a phrase. It becomes a way of reading evolution itself. We often imagine evolution only as competition, only as struggle, only as selection through force. Of course, struggle is real. Adaptation is real. Selection is real. Extinction is real. But life is not only competition, life is also cooperation. Life is symbiosis. Life is communication. Life is increasing sensitivity. Life is the widening of relationships. Life is the emergence of consciousness through ever richer forms of connection. Seen this way, evolution is not only the survival of the fittest, it is also the refinement of what can relate, adapt, perceive, and participate more deeply in the living whole. And this has enormous implications for the future. Because if my axiom is true, then the next stage of civilization cannot be defined by intelligence alone. It must be defined by whether intelligence is aligned with the deep movement of life. Does it help awareness grow? Does it deepen care? Does it strengthen relationship? Does it protect the conditions in which life can continue to flourish? Or does it do the opposite? Does it make us cleverer but colder, more connected but less compassionate, more informed but less wise, more powerful but less alive? That is the test. And I believe this is where many advanced societies become unstable. They accumulate extraordinary light, but not enough love. They become brilliant in technique and weak in moral depth. They learn how to accelerate, but not how to care. They develop enormous systems of analysis, prediction, and influence, but lose touch with the living purpose those systems should serve. That is why I say the crisis of the future will not come only from darkness, it may come from light without love, from knowledge without conscience, from power without tenderness, from innovation without reverence for life. In Garden of Wisdom, life-driven evolution suggests that when life grows in love and light, it does not merely survive, it becomes capable of resonance with greater consciousness. And here, I want to slow down, because this is where the theory becomes more expansive. I do not see consciousness as something trapped only inside the human skull. I see consciousness as part of a living universe. A universe that is not dead matter moving pointlessly through space, but a deeper field of aliveness in which all life forms participate in different degrees and in different ways. We are life within life, mind within a greater mind, awareness within a larger field of awareness. As life grows in love and light, it resonates more deeply with that greater consciousness. In other words, growth is not only biological, it is also relational and spiritual in the broadest sense. The more a being matures in light, it sees more clearly. The more it matures in love, it relates more deeply. And the more these two deepen together, the more that being can participate in the living universe consciously rather than unconsciously. That is what I mean by higher states of being, life, and consciousness. And we are not alone in that movement. All life beings, known and unknown to us, belong to the same cosmic web. Some we recognize, some we do not. Some may exist in forms familiar to us. Some may exist in forms we cannot yet imagine. But if life is woven through a deeper field of consciousness, then the cosmos is not a collection of isolated entities. It is a vast network of relationship, development, and potential communion. And in that cosmic web, beings grow toward greater states of love and light, toward greater consciousness, greater responsibility, greater participation in the whole. What we call unity, then, is not mere sameness. It is resonance. It is not the erasure of difference. It is the harmonizing of difference within a deeper field of connection. And that matters, because true unity is never cheap. It is not forced uniformity. It is not domination by one system, one tribe, one ideology, or one power center. Real unity emerges when beings freely align themselves with what is higher in love and light. That is why unity is not automatic. It is available, but it must be chosen. And here we arrive at one of the deepest paradoxes in the book. The universe may contain order, direction, and deep pattern. There may be a profound structure to existence. There may be a movement toward life, consciousness, and greater integration. And yet, choice still matters. That is why the ancient wise could say, everything is predetermined and permission is given. I find that line extraordinary, because it holds two truths at once. There is order, and there is freedom. There is a deeper pattern, and there is permission. There is a movement in life toward greater realization. and there is still the dignity and danger of choice. This, in my view, is one of the great distinctions of the human being in the biblical vision of creation. Humanity is not only made alive, humanity is entrusted, gifted with the capacity to choose alignment or misalignment, to choose love or indifference, to choose light or confusion, to choose whether we will carry the everlasting flame of love and light forward into creation. And that is not a small gift, it is an immense responsibility. Because if humans are beings who can choose consciously, then we are not only evolving ourselves, we are also participating in the guidance of creation. Our choices affect other beings, other systems, other futures. Our technologies affect children not yet born. Our politics affect ecosystems we did not create. Our economies affect species we barely understand. Our values affect the moral atmosphere in which civilization develops. So, when Garden of Wisdom speaks of humanity helping guide creation toward higher states of being, life, and consciousness, it does not mean domination. It means stewardship. It means conscious participation. It means using our freedom not to separate ourselves from the living whole, but to serve its unfolding. That is the real meaning of moral choice, not arbitrary preference, but alignment with life. And once you see that, the formula becomes even more important. Love plus light equals life. Because love and light are not merely emotions or metaphors, they are orienting principles. They help us ask whether our actions are aligned with the deeper movement of life itself. Does this choice deepen awareness? Does it deepen care? Does it strengthen relationship? Does it widen the circle of flourishing? Does it move creation toward greater aliveness, greater consciousness, greater harmony? If yes, then we are participating in life driven evolution. If not, then no matter how advanced we appear, we may be moving against the grain of life. And the consequence of that, over time, is decline, perhaps even extinction. This is why I believe the future of technology cannot be separated from the future of consciousness. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, planetary systems, digital culture, economic design, ecological stewardship, all of it must now be judged by a deeper standard. Not only does it work, but does it help life grow in love and light? Does it serve the greater web of being? Does it open the possibility of wiser forms of unity? Does it respect freedom while guiding toward higher responsibility? Does it make us more resonant with the living universe or more estranged from it? These are not decorative questions, they are civilizational questions, because a future with more light but no love will become brittle. A future with power but no reverence will become dangerous. A future with intelligence but no alignment with life will eventually turn against the conditions that sustain it. But a future that grows in both love and light may do something remarkable. It may reconnect humanity to the greater field of consciousness from which it emerged. It may help us see that we are not separate masters of a dead world, but participants in a living cosmos. It may help us understand that evolution is not only about surviving long enough to dominate, it is about becoming conscious enough to unite, not by force, by resonance, not by erasing difference, by elevating relation, not by abandoning freedom, by choosing wisely. And perhaps that is the deepest hope in Garden of Wisdom, that the human story is not merely a race for power, it is an invitation to choose, to align, to grow, to carry the everlasting flame of love and light into the future. and with that flame to help guide all forms of creation toward higher states of life, being, and consciousness. That to me is what makes the future sacred. Not that it will be easy, not that progress is guaranteed, but that permission has been given. The choice is real. And with that choice comes the possibility that humanity may become not only more intelligent, but more luminous, not only more capable, but more loving, not only more advanced, but more deeply alive. As above, so below. In Garden of Wisdom, I argue that love and light give birth to life, and that humanity's deepest calling is to choose that flame consciously, so we may help guide creation toward higher states of being, life, and consciousness.